play smart. Box smart. Winners play smart.
Even though you might have heard some of these points many times before, let's revisit the very basics of ball carries that, when not done properly or when they are executed incorrectly, are still contributing to concussions and serious and catastrophic head, neck and spine injuries.
Let's first look at what to do prior to contact. When carrying the ball, do not always first look for contact. In rugby, the shortest way to the try line is not always straight. There is a time and a place for taking the ball into contact from a tactical perspective, but this should not always be your first option. As a player wanting a long career, more contact equals more potential damage to your body. From a defensive perspective, seeking constant contact also makes your play predictable and ineffective, and therefore makes you easier to defend. This is not smart rugby. When approaching the defensive line, run with the ball in two hands to create uncertainty and hesitation in the defenders. Here are some basic cues for your players to look for to help them make the next decision on attack. Look for the defenders' feet crossing over, or whether or not they plant their feet. Look for exposed or out-of-shape defensive lines, or player numbers mismatches. Also, your position on the field. Once you have considered what is in front of you, look your defenders in the eye to engage them and exploit your available options. You can either catch them on the wrong foot or attack their weak shoulder, or run into the appropriate space created, or commit the defender and put one of your support players into the space. Or whether required to do so, take contact and set up the next phase of attack. Ideally, your first option is to run into space and not a face. Explosiveness away from the contact has been shown to have a moderate protection effect on the ball carrier. You also commit more defenders by attacking the space compared to running directly into a player. You in turn then create more space and opportunities for your support players to run off you. This is smart rugby. Where required and where you are able to, you can also use a fend or a handoff to create more space between you and the defender. There are times, however, whether tactically, technically or situationally, when contact simply becomes unavoidable. Carry the ball in two hands. Shorten your steps just prior to approaching the defender. This allows you to better control the imminent contact situation. A key point to be aware of is that high-speed, high-impact collisions hold a significant risk of injury. So focus on the point of contact, which should be aimed at the tackler's arms or mid-torso. Maintain a low body position and take a wide power step into the oncoming tackler. It is equally important that you do not launch yourself from too far away, as this generally ends up with you going downwards either into the oncoming tackler or into the ground. Certainly does not put you in a position of strength. It is extremely unsafe and can lead to significant injury, and frequently leads to the opposition turning the ball over. You need to step close in contact and move forward. Confront the contact. A power step with a low body position widens your base of support and lowers the center of gravity. This makes you more difficult to bring down and allows you to have more power when making contact and driving through the hit. When having to step in, it is also important to protect yourself and therefore present the hard parts of your body to the tackler, such as your shoulder and not your head. On television, we see the ball carrier far too often leading with the head into contact, even in top flight rugby. In a scientific paper on spinal cord injuries, 7 out of the 10 cases involved either contact with the ball carrier's head or neck. When it comes to concussion and catastrophic head, neck and spine injuries, this is simply not an option. And it is definitely not smart rugby. Always keep your head up, face up and eyes open when going into contact, and protect your head and neck at all times. Protect the ball by holding it tight against your body and moving it away from the shoulder which you have presented to the tackler. Once you make the hit, drive through the tackle with the legs. This has also been shown to have moderate protection value on the ball carrier. It has been shown that the longer you try and stay up in the contest, the greater your chances of injury. So once the tackle has been made, battle to get yourself to ground, and then battle to secure and present the ball appropriately to your teammates.
An interesting fact to get you thinking, rightly or wrongly so, is that coaches generally select their ball carriers to be the heavier, bigger players. Yet some of the research that has been done has indicated that even though the tacklers weighed less, they still dominated 57% of the tackle events. What was the difference then? Do we spend relatively more time on the tackle and too little on ball carrying techniques? Or have these bigger ball carriers been taught to run over the opposition and have not been taught to attack the space first? Or, when required to do so, they have not been taught to carry the ball into contact more effectively. This is definitely something for you to consider more in your coaching. Getting the basics of taking the ball into contact right will provide you with better protection against injuries and will allow you to dominate the contest far more often than not.
Some of the previous key points discussed have been found to potentially carry more weight when it comes to preventing catastrophic concussion, head, neck and spine injuries, and also general rugby injuries. Individual awareness of what is happening around them on the field is critical for both safety and success of the ball carrier. In tackle-related injuries, the ball carrier is frequently injured while being tackled from behind, and most of the time these players are unaware of the impending tackle. Unexpected impacts to the head and neck from outside of the player's field of vision limits the ability to engage the neck muscles sufficiently in anticipation. And therefore these muscles cannot assist in slowing down head acceleration after the hit. This mechanism contributes to increased risk of concussions and catastrophic collisions.
When it comes to catastrophic head, neck and spine injuries, our data supports this conclusion. Albeit that the numbers are small, every one of these cases where the information was available indicated that the tackle was firstly high, and it would also appear as if they were not aware of the forthcoming contact. 80% of these cases ended up with permanent outcomes remaining in the injured player. So how does one fix this particular problem, and can anything be done? For one, instruct and coach your players to tackle within the laws, that is below the shoulder line and not above. And two, a simple practical solution might be to simply work on establishing better communication between your teammates. One might also combine this with controlled non-contact and contact drills where one develops peripheral vision, contact evasion skills, and decision-making of the ball carrier under pressure from behind.